Hi, everyone. Well, it's going to be a good show because we have an amazing guest, but more importantly, the gong did not fall over. We were in sync on the tapping of the cups. And yeah, so I think it's going to be good. Here we are. We made it. We made it to 10 double-digit episodes.
We're beyond 10, though. We're actually at 12. We're at 12.
Oh, yeah.
12's
10 plus 2.
It's a bad sign.
Okay, let's just gather ourselves. It's all going to be fine. Episode 12.
Let's go.
We've been double digits for 3 times. And here we are. Checked out Retail Stories Podcast. Doug.
Hi, everybody.
And I'm his brother, Ryan. We've been together since 1986. Started out just a couple of can crushing youths trying to make a living in the garage. Do you remember that?
Remember how gross the cans were? Because they didn't wash them out.
No.
Oh.
No, you know, back in the late 80s, early 90s, Doug and I were kids, you know, Dad, he's always been a guy that's looked for any opportunity to make money. And so, you know, we had cans just like everybody in their house. You know, everything was made with a can, I think, back then. You know, all the canned products, various products. And so we'd save them in bags. And every once in a while on a Saturday, Dad would dump them out and say, okay, it's time to crush the cans. And we'd get like 1/10 of 1/4 of 1% or, you know, free gumball or something for doing it. But it was kind of fun. We'd line up all the cans in rows, take a sledgehammer. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
And go down, just crush all the cans. But, you know, it's funny as we go on through business, you know, that's the mentality Dad's had and taught us all along. You know, don't waste anything. Every unit matters, you know, and maximize the value of everything that you're dealing with. So, you know, you just drank a can of Coke or a beer or you know, you just ate a can of whatever. You know, don't just throw it away. Recycle it. He's a big recycler. Recycle it, but hey, let's see what we can get out of residual value.
Oh, 100%. And maximizing the business starts with maximizing your partnerships. And we want to do a big shout out to our headline sponsor. Our retail partners are vital to success. And we want to be a big thank you to our friends at paskillalliance.org, guys, representing small businesses, fraternal orders, and nonprofits across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, helping people play genuine Pennsylvania skill games every day and enjoying being in their neighborhoods and their communities. So big shout out to our friends at paskillalliance.org.
And remember, it's skill,
not luck,
baby.
Woo! Woo!
And thank you to all of our viewers out there. Thank you to everybody that's viewing on all the platforms. We couldn't be at, what I thought was episode 10, but it's episode 12. We couldn't be at episode 12 without all your support. So, you know, we'll keep spraying the stories and, you know, hopefully something continues to resonate with the audience, but appreciate the views have been amazing and we're very humbled by it. So thank you for all of that support. And Doug, we've started a segment last week that I think is kind of cool, brings a personal touch to the show, the cast. And what is going on in Doug's life?
Well, guys, I mean, obviously, you know, everybody's kind of digging out of the snow still, and it's been pretty wild that way. We're getting ready for the big groundhog coming out of his hole. But, you know, it's funny. I always ask myself if I handled situations correctly. And, you know, with ongoing troubles of the trucks being canceled, you know, I see some of the text messages from other retailers out there that are all fired up. And do you ever ask yourself, like, do you really know when to push or when to be cooperative?
You know what? That's a great question. I mean, I could sit here and talk for hours. Bottom line is I haven't figured it out yet, but I just try to be fair with every dealing. I try to think before I speak, and I just try to expect the same out of my partners and out of people around me as I give to them as far as courtesy, as far as effort. So I don't know if that answered the question, but that's how I view it. Yeah,
but like, I mean, obviously everybody wants to handle things correctly. But how do you know like what the turning point is when, like, for instance, somebody says something, but you really know that they could do something, but for the benefit of them, they're not doing it. Like, how do you know when that angle is and what is the proper pressure?
I mean, it's an instance by instance inexact science. I mean, that's why NFL coaches get paid $15 million a year because, you know, every one of those situations can result in losing a player, gaining a player, bad press, good press, wins, losses. financial dollars from sponsors or not financial dollars from sponsors. Everything's high stakes, and it's the same in our world. Everything's high stakes. Every interaction, even with family. I mean, let's face it. Every time we handle something, even between us as brothers, it's, we got to be, respectful. We got to kind of think ahead because, it can get touchy if it's said in the wrong way. You take the same thing, you say it three different times, you get three different results. So it's an inexact science. You keep working at it.
You know what AI says? It says when to push is when there's high concern for the goal but low concern for the person. Is when you push. And when you cooperate, is high concern for both goal and the person. So if the person respects you, but also respects the goal you're trying to achieve, then you cooperate. But if they feel that the high concern for the goal and low concern for the person, if they feel that way, then it's time to push.
I mean, that makes sense. I get that. I mean, obviously, it's good that I get that because that's, the accumulation of thousands of years of human research. So, I mean, they obviously know what they're saying, but I mean, that does make sense to me. Yeah. So that's your struggle right now. That's what you're trying to manage. That's what you're trying to get better at. Because I feel like, in all honesty, I mean, I've watched you, followed you for 30, almost 40 years now, and you have improved in your handling of different situations and how you go about things. I mean, I've noticed a significant improvement. So, I mean, obviously, you've worked at that.
Well, no, yeah, and to the same point, I feel like I now have a style, if you want to call it, or a way to behave, which basically is both. I mean, I feel like, I'm always pushing, but it's in a cooperative manner. I try not to go to the dark side and get radical. And, here's the thing. I've always learned this. If you have to explain who you are to anybody, you already lost the argument. It's over. You already lost it. Or if you have to explain the situation to somebody, they already know the situation.
Or if you have to sell yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you justify, you already lost. So at the same time, if you can try to push the situation and understand both people's positions, but understand that, listen, we understand your position, but we still got to get this done. And this is what we got to do. That's a big deal. And, there's a lot of things like this week. We had our truck get canceled. All of our stores, you're talking about a big, big number. And your store's light.
On an important week, a big sales week, a week that we count on for our quarterly numbers,
right.
A week that we count on for our employee incentives, pay our electric, pay our overhead. Like, first couple of weeks of the month are very important. And with the trucks being shorted, it's definitely costing us.
Oh, it is. And we know that the supplier wants to get it done, but at the same time, when you have a negotiation happen and it's just no, with no, like, here's what we're going to do to make it better, just no, it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
Because at that point, they're pushing.
Yeah.
So, a question you have to ask yourself, do you push back? Do you start strategizing what else you want to do in your life? Or, do you try to be cooperative? But it's hard when the person you're trying to work with is pushing right away.
Yeah.
That's what the anger came from. The anger came from them pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a couple situations with suppliers and, I definitely wish that from there. And I get it, the panic, I get it, the restrictions and limitations and the looking out for safety of drivers. I understand all that. We look out for the safety of our people. But yeah, I think that was the problem. That's why it escalated a little bit, was because of that hard no versus, hey, let's try to find a solution that works for both of us. Like, there was none of that. There was no time given for that. Even if they had no intention of doing that, it would have been nice to hear that. I think that was the difference.
Right. It was more of a authoritative, like, here's what's going to be.
Like, listen, son. Listen, son, you know what? You're going to get your truck when I say you're going to get your truck, and you're going to be in bed when I told you to be in bed. Do you understand me? Now go get your shine box.
Oh, there we go. The shine box.
Go get your shine box.
Hey, I'm glad you didn't pull the pen out.
Another Goodfellas reference.
Nice pen.
For those that didn't watch Goodfellas after the last episode, please watch it. It's a great movie. Good management stuff. There's a lot of management training. It's a little, it's a little extreme management training, but it's management training.
Well, I think everybody, for a PSA for watching our show,
box. All right.
If you're going to thoroughly enjoy Ryan and I's inside jokes, you need to watch
Roadhouse, Goodfellas,
Godfather,
and The Office. The Office.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
The Office teaches you to use humor in difficult situations, to use it to kind of break the ice a little bit.
And most historical drama is between 1990 and 2016.
That makes sense.
All good. But yeah, beyond that, though, one of the cool things is this week is we're starting to get feedback from our people that watch the show, talking about their retail experiences with the subject matter, including Schenley Whiskey, talking about real quick story about Schenley Whiskey. One of the guys that was part of the team. Did you know that Schenley Whiskey never actually made whiskey at Schenley?
No.
They just bottled it there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So usually it's made elsewhere and it's brought in. They might have made some small stuff, but like, and then they actually had a big production for airplane bottles versus just regular bottles, which is also interesting because this guy was talking about it. But one of the things he said was when they were closing down the factory, they shipped all the bottling lines to Canada, Toronto. And at the time, they shipped all the equipment separately from the tools, right? And so when they arrived in Canada, they were there, and Canadians, our friends in the north, looking through the window in the glass bowl, sometimes gonna be a little standoffish and forget they do speak English. So they sent the bottling line up, and for a couple of days, the crew's up there waiting, for their tools to show up so they can start assembling this thing, and they didn't show up, right? So everybody's kind of weird and awkward and everything else. And the guy said when they shipped the tools were packed to the brim with Playboy magazines.
Oh, wow.
And they all became real good friends.
Isn't it amazing what a brand that became at that time? I mean, that was before all the online stuff that people access now and everything. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot of subscribers. I remember one of my buddies, I thought it was like a stand in the bathroom for a while, but here it was a stack of Playboys that this guy had accrued over the years. And it literally, it was like a thing. He started stacking issues, and he just kept stacking. I mean, it was like this high. It was like you wanted an extra roll of toilet paper, you could get that, or...
Was he married?
Yeah. He's a great guy, legendary guy. Great marriage.
So the wife didn't care that he had a stack of Playboys in his...
I mean, it was off of their living room.
Was the main bathroom?
I mean, for people that visited, it was not hidden by any means. Although me being, not always observant, it took me to probably my third or fourth try in there before I discovered them.
Oh.
But interesting. But yeah, for those of you that haven't seen the segment on Schenley Whiskey, I forget what episode it is, but you can look back. I think it was like episode 7, but you could look that up. It's back there. But great segment, and great addition to that. Well, in my world, there's a couple things happening right now. I mean, kind of like you, like I'm constantly trying to get better at things and trying to manage things better. I've really worked on time management over the last year and a half with some different approaches of help from my wife, which is very appreciated. Thank you, Brand. But prioritizing family time, making sure that unless there's something crazy happening, I put a cut on it and enjoy be present, enjoy the family, and so I've been really working on that, but I'm getting better at that. But lately I've just been trying to manage my time with, between the podcast and between going to the different stores, making sure there's enough time in the different stores, making sure it's pretty even in the different stores. Because let's face it, a FaceTime with the customers, with the employees, with seeing the operations is very important, and you can't lose sight of that. So trying to manage that with all the administrative things has been my goal, to just try to give myself the best chance to make sure I maximize my time has been a big deal. And, I talked about my journey last week. I'm on with my wife again, Brandy. We're doing the faster way and trying to be healthier and, watching macros. Never knew what a macro was before about a month ago. Now macros are all over my brain, making sure all the proteins and everything are where they need to be, because it's important. It helps with everything as you get older, and I'm 45, so hey. But yeah, so that's it. Just doing that, sharing some love of movies with Cam and Montana, and just living life.
Remember the thrill of your first childhood game, maybe tic-tac-toe? Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games recaptures that excitement, offering easy-to-play, win-every-time experiences at your favorite local spots. Imagine a game where a little skill consistently turns credits into cash prizes. A game you can enjoy with others and even help them win. No need to just imagine. Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games, championed by the PA Skill Alliance, are real. Go to paskillalliance.org for more information.
It's time for our guest, Doug. And we are very honored this week to have a guest that is a legend in terms of independent retailers. We talked about it before. 10, 15, 20 years ago when we sat around a table of independent retailers in Pennsylvania, full table, people sitting behind, people with notepads, everybody excited, people showing up, trying to get everybody's names. And there were so many people you didn't know everybody's names. Now, when you sit at a table of independent retailers in central and western Pennsylvania, plenty of room at the table. Unfortunately, fewer of us every year. And, we've said before, it's just it's tough go against the big dogs. But we are with a guest that is a second generation grocer, just like the two of us, took over for his dad's business, just like us. And, this guy's been a mentor of ours for me since first time I ever met Bob, I was playing cards when I was 14, maybe, a little nickel dime poker action. But Bob Appleby is the owner of Saxonburg and Everett Food Liners in central Pennsylvania. Look on a map, look at the turnpike, go to the middle of the state, look north, and you're going to find his two towns and two very, very amazing stores. One of the first guys, if not the first guy independent that I knew of that built a store ground up. That you don't see that too often with stores. We've done some remodels, we've done some revitalization, never built ground up. That's next level. So we are very happy and excited to talk to our old friend. And like I said, if there was an Independent Grocers Hall of Fame, this dude would be in it, cast iron, ready to go. Bob Appleby, everyone. Woo! Woo! Bob, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here. And my store's in Saxton. Doug's in Saxonburg.
Oh, yeah. I said it wrong.
Bob gave you a side eye. It was great.
You know what? This guy, I'm going to lose my job. As you get older, I'm 45 and I'm already like, oh, like he said that. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I said it right. I did say it right if that was Saxonburg.
Bob, do you think what happened was they made Saxon, obviously, and then all of a sudden, like, we need our name. Like, we like Saxon, but let's put a burg on the end. Call it Saxonburg.
And the worst part about it is I graduated from a high school that was only like 30 minutes from Saxton. Tussey Mountain.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy that I'd have messed that up. Everett I got right, though, which is funny because I didn't really know Everett. But anyways, Everett and Saxton, this guy's an OG. Bob, thanks for being on today. Thanks for hooking on and getting all the technology set up. It's refreshing because guys like you and me, man, we use what we need to use. If I read you right there,
that's all we use.
Yeah,
I'm not a Facebook or any of that stuff. Yeah.
Well, we talked about second generation grocers. We talked about being in the grocery business. I mean, you've been a mentor of ours. Directly, indirectly, and in between for years. I've sat like a sponge many nights just sitting and listening to your stories and listening to different ways you do things and how you think about things. And it's really went a long way in molding us and helping us to be sitting here with you as fellow grocers that have made it. They're still viable, still doing well. And, we have a lot to be thankful for the relationship we've had with you. But, real quick, we just wanted to give you a chance to talk about the history maybe of your family, how your parents, your dad got into the business, and, just a recap for people that aren't familiar with independence and the struggle and how it becomes, how you get second generation. If you could just give us a little bit of a background on yourself.
Okay. Well, my dad actually started with Weiss Markets in Mount Union. That was my dad's home, and stayed with them, worked his way up to where he answered directly to Sig Weiss. And in the 50s, he took a job down in Florida as a vice president of a chain called Food Fair. And my mom and dad and him moved down there. Me and Joe was born in Florida, Bradenton, Florida. And my mom wanted to come home to Huntington. He went to work as a retail counselor for a company called Reeves Parvin, which you boys, probably remember in Huntington there. You guys are still boys because I was 25 when you were playing poker at 14. So trust me, you'll enjoy being called boys when you get my age. But anyhow, come home. He helped a struggling retailer who was making it big in other fields. And the guy said, if you ever want to see a store Charlie, that you think we can make go? He said, I'll put the money up, you can do the work, and we'll be 50-50 partners. And that was Ray Kuntz from McConnellsburg. And quite honestly, when Joe and I bought Ray out in 1984, my dad and Ray had to have a written formal agreement. Everything they ever did was on handshakes. And that's how we got in the grocery business. I mean, me and my brother started, I was 12, he was 14 when we were put on a schedule, which was 53 years ago. And that's what we've been doing ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when we graduated high school, Joe went to one semester of college, and he realized that one for him, he come back to the grocery business. And I never wasted my time with college because it's not my cup of tea. I knew what I wanted to do. And I can tell you this, the grocery business has been tough, but it's been very rewarding, both financially and just fun. Every aspect of my life, it's been, a good experience. So that's how we got into her.
That's amazing. All this time and all these conversations, I never realized that your family got in the same way that our family got in. I mean, Dad was your retail counselor.
Yeah.
And then he bought into Leechburg and then Katanning the same way your dad did. Handshake agreement. It was a little more than a handshake, but it was a little further down the line. But dollar down and owner financed. And, it's funny. I didn't realize that the path was very similar to your dad, to our dad getting in. That's pretty interesting.
Yep.
Takes a lot of faith.
A lot of the reason why I think we've always related well, your dad and I, was we both know what it takes to get there.
Yeah. Now, he has a ton of respect for you. I mean, you guys have been buddies forever. We talked about the first time I met you. You came and visited our house in Huntington. And I don't know if you remember that night, but we were playing gutsy, little fun family poker game, little nickel dime quarter stuff, and had a great night. But I remember thinking, that dude's got his stuff together. I didn't really understand the whole situation, but you just seemed to have your stuff together. And turns out, you knew one or two things, at least two things.
It's been a good ride.
It has. It has.
Good ride.
Now, one thing, Doug, you had a couple really good questions that you wanted to ask him that I looked them over. I'm like, man, those are good questions. What was one of your questions for Bob as far as?
You know what? The first one was, Bob, what's the meaning of life for a grocer?
That wasn't on the list. That'll take 10 that'll be a whole separate
curveball.
That would be taking a bunch of crap off of customers and keeping a smile on your face. That's the meaning of life.
Isn't that the truth, man? Isn't that the truth? I always say, whether it's customers, whether it's some really wild employee requests or ideas or stuff like that, you have to funnel through a lot. And there's a lot of magic, as you pointed out. There's a lot of magic and a lot of great input, but there's also a lot of just wow moments. Of like, how am I having this conversation right now with this person? But you can't say that. So I always say, what goes across the scroll and what comes out of your mouth are two separate things. And you have to make sure that the scroll, doesn't slip.
Yeah. And unfortunately, with my filter's not as good as yours, because you told me once one of your favorite lines is, "I'm sorry you feel that way."
That is.
I've never mastered that one.
It's a hard thing to master, and it's like, I mean, you've been in the same thing we've been in. I mean, Doug, you've been too. You could speak to this. Like, how many times, you listen to somebody, like whether it be an employee or a customer, they come up with some crazy request or some idea or whatever, and you've heard the same thing 50,000 times in your career, but you have to act like it's the first time because it's important to them. Whatever they're telling you is important to them, even though you know the answer is very important to them. So you have to
Oh no, it's funny. So Bob, I mean, you could tell us. I mean, and it's questions off the script. We're gonna ask you anyway. How many times is when one of your competitors got a business that's an independent grocer? How many times have you get phone calls? hey, you want to open up another store in the middle of blah, 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 blah?
A lot. And the answer is, it gets down to how many yachts can you water ski behind at one time? And the answer is one.
Yes.
And I don't need any more. Not that I don't even own a boat. I don't even have a rowboat. Well, I do have a kayak. So I just don't. You realize there's a lot more to life than running grocery stores. I mean, run the ones I think I talked to one of you guys and I said, be good at the one you're at. That'll give you everything you need. And, without getting pulled away from your family and everything. I have a lot of respect for those who have multiple stores, but multiple stores, but it's just not in my DNA.
Do you feel that when you're talking to people that have multiple stores, our current warehouse, now we've been through some warehouses together, but our current warehouse, talks about the stores like ours where we're like independent operators, we have customers, right? But once you get to a certain size, it becomes transactions, it becomes rings, it becomes no longer really that interpersonal relationship. It becomes, which might be nice to avoid those kind of crazy conversations. Ryan was talking about that earlier. I always like to say when people, Patrick Swayze line from Roadhouse, oh, you feel that way? They're like, oh yeah, I can't believe you did this and that and this. I'm like, well, opinions vary.
Opinions vary.
So to the same point, I mean, do you see that? Like, obviously, you're very, very involved in your store. I mean, you're as far as stories about owners taking care of their crew members. I mean, you guys do a lot of great things that inspired us to do things we do. But I mean, do you notice that, like, that you think you'd miss that relationship with your customers and crew if you became multiple store operators?
Inevitably. Because quite honestly, I don't have the relationship with my employees at Saxton as I do at Everett, because I'm not there enough, and it just would be spreading it out thinner. So
it is a struggle, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. And plain and simple, I'm not that smart. I just happen to be able to sell groceries and make money doing it, make a living doing it. But obviously, it's proof, as we were trying to get on here today, I'm not that smart.
Well, you know what? We talked about football before. We're both big football fans and both very familiar with Central Pennsylvania football. And we had the offensive coordinator when I played in Huntington, which is not far from Saxton, as we pointed out earlier, was Chuck Hoover. He was actually originally from Tyrone, Pennsylvania. He was the offensive coordinator. He was very good. And I'll never forget, like, there'd be times where a play would go, it would work out good, and I'd come to the sideline for the play. It was back before all this, technology and hand signals and all this fancy stuff. So quarterback would run to the sideline, get the play, come out. And he would look at me sometimes and be like, what are you looking at me for? I'd be like, I need a play, coach. He'd be like, we just made 10 yards. Get out there and run until they stop it. And I'll never forget, we ran one time against Bellefonte. You're familiar, obviously, we're Bellefonte. We ran the same play 7 straight times and scored on it. It was just a counter, same side, didn't even change the side. But, like, to your point, in life, sometimes I think, and we get caught up doing this sometimes. You get kind of thinking about other things, doing other things, and you get distracted and taken in other directions. But to your point, if you just find something you're good at, this can apply to anybody. You find something you're good at and you love, and you just pound that play and just give it all you got. Yep. Look at you. You can make a 50-plus year career out of it.
I've not run an ad in a newspaper. I've run one ad in a newspaper in 6 years now. And because I established our place as the place where you can get everything at the best price, I don't need to advertise it, and I don't.
Wow.
And
wow.
I just pound away at pricing, and that's just what it's something I've developed a niche for, and I work hard at it. And I tell you guys, buy extra. For us, it's an extra Miracle Whip, extra Maxwell House coffee. When it's on deal, and keep a good price on it. I've made a living out of doing that in this business, and I run it until as you say, until they stop me, until I run out of the good deal, and then you adjust your price for the next round.
That's crazy. So you don't run an ad at all?
I run an online ad. Wow. And I'll be honest with you, it's the boringest daggone ad. And probably I run 28 grocery items in an ad, and probably 16 of them has never changed.
Wow.
And they're the Miracle Whips, the IGA sugar, the Maxwell House coffee, Heinz ketchup, just hammer away at things like that. Quite honestly, and you guys are probably too young to remember it, but Giant Eagle years ago had an absolute minimum pricing, and they kicked everybody's butt. And I learned how they did it, and I've always been the type, if they can do it good, I can do it better. Sort of a little bit of arrogance there.
Yeah.
But I've done it now for 35, 40 years, running off. That was the early 80s. So, yeah, it's been 40 years I've been pounding that same thing, and I'm just going to keep running that play. Quite honestly, it's the only play I know anymore.
So, Bob, do you have people coming to the store all the time like, hey, Bob, I got a great program for you?
Actually, Doug, I've said no to them enough that pretty much they leave me alone now. I have no problem saying no to people.
Ryan, talk about
just what I do.
Talk about your pet peeve when vendors or wholesalers or anybody comes in the middle of the day and expects you to have time for them right when they want time.
I call it torpedoing a day. I mean, I couldn't imagine, just showing up somewhere as a person trying to sell somebody something and like just torpedoing, interrupting their meeting with their wife or their business partner or their manager or a staff member, or just interrupting their day. And with my book this big of deals and two vendor partners that I want to introduce them to, and I mean, when did that become cool? Just to like expect that person to drop everything, give you an hour and a half of their day, which is going to take away from time with their family at the end of the day because they have to get their stuff done. Like so many vendors do that, and they've done it to me. And it's funny, I used to deal with it because I thought I had to because I was young. But now that, my beard has enough gray in it and I just, whatever. Now I'm like, even if it's somebody that I have a good relationship with, I'll just be like, excuse me, Bill, I'm in the middle of a meeting. I mean, I'd be happy to give you, if you text me or something, we can set up a meeting for the future. But, I'm in the middle of a meeting. I can't give you time. Oh, no. And then here's what really makes me mad. They'll be like, oh, no, I just need like 10 minutes. No, Bill, I'm sorry. You're going to have to leave. I don't have one more minute. I love you, but I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. I love you, but get out.
Get out. Yeah, but how rude is that? And have you noticed that? Like people try to torpedo you like that? Like, or people, have you trained people to have some, I always call it, I just expect the same from them that I expect myself to give. So, how do you deal with that kind of stuff?
I'll be honest with you. That's the way we used to do it all the time.
Oh.
Quite honestly, when your dad was selling specialty, I never knew when he was coming until I seen him walk through the front door. Then, I mean, it's just how it used to be done.
Oh, so, okay. So
that's as honest. My day was usually Thursdays, and I literally would get to my desk at 8:00 in the morning, and I wouldn't leave my desk till 4:00 in the afternoon. And it was just one vendor. They would form a line outside waiting to see me.
Wow.
And they sort of knew Thursdays was the day. If you want to see Bob, you go on Thursday.
Oh, okay. So you did kind of train them as far as your availability. They knew when was the good day to see Bob.
But, and sometimes I'd give them the time because you know what? Once in a while, they'll have something that I can make a lot of money off of. So you just got to learn to weed them out quick. If you ain't got stuff for me that's worth looking at, I don't need you in my hair today. So
maybe I need to weed better. I might be missing out on deals.
No, Ryan's rage mode.
I'm not rage mode.
Every day.
No, I'm not.
There's 3 times a day that you break down and say, I'm going to slay something.
Listen, I'm going to be nice. I'm not rage mode.
Oh, okay. The man, 3 times a day I hear from Doug, I'm going to go in the weeds. I'm going dark right now. And I'm like, why? He's like,
You're paying me out to be, I mean, you know, I call it selective aggression. Selective aggression.
There's times where I say, keep all knives, guns, and sharp objects away from me.
Yes. He gets it. He gets it. You know what? Let's talk about your brother, Bob. I mean, your brother's in business, second generation, similar to us. You know, let's face it.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how you guys are. Like, we get along well. We have a great relationship. It's evolved. It's evolved. We get far less blow-ups. But, I mean, there's still times where, you know, I mean, we've really worked on our relationship as far as respecting each other, as far as respecting each other's opinions, all that kind of stuff. But there's still times where it's like, you know, it gets a little heated. It gets a little like, oh, you know, is somebody going to punch somebody here? I mean, is it going to get wild?
We have the same thing. But the good thing is I run the business at both stores. He runs the maintenance and the work at both stores. And so we sort of stay out of each other's hair. And probably our biggest arguments come when he questions something I did or I question something he did. Because he's good at what he does and I'm good at what I do. And I don't want to be questioned.
It's tricky.
And he's like, yeah. I can remember Doug. I don't know if you remember this, Doug. You called and you said to me, he said, how do you work with your wife all day? Do you remember that conversation, Doug?
No. Well, actually, no. That's a great thing. So Lindsay at the time was working at it. I called you for your opinion.
It's tricky.
Yeah. And I said, pick the battles that are worth fighting. And I haven't found a battle yet that was worth fighting. You know,
smart man.
He's sharper than I am.
He's a smart man.
Because you said, I don't know how I can stay, you were struggling and it becomes a communication issue. And sometimes you can't see that when you're young and just newly married. And
oh no, you're definitely playing for the same team. I mean, you're playing for the same team, but yeah, I remember calling you and I was thinking about hiring Lindsay at the time, and she was working in a different field. And I'm like, man, I need somebody I can trust. I need somebody that's gonna make sure the numbers were there. I mean, now, Bob, she is a stud when it comes to like tracking down like shortages, whatever it may be office wise. She's phenomenal at. But every once in a while, to your point, I got to check myself and be like, Doug, is it really worth it? And the answer is always no.
She just sent me one text. She sent me one text today that took 5 things off my calendar.
I know. My wife's in the kitchen listening to this conversation, but she's heard this 1,000 times. You know, any woman who thinks they're equal to a man is just wrong. They're far superior. They are far superior.
Yeah. If hooked to a polygraph, I would agree.
I'll take a woman about any time over a man except for laying blocks and baling hay. But I'm telling you, my girls at the store, they rock. I'm telling you. And the leader of them is Lisa. Plain and simple.
I just read something that said, to your point, if you want to hire somebody that's going to get something done, I read this, so somebody else's quote, and I'm on. If you want to hire somebody that's going to get something done for you and be just absolutely great, hire a mother of 3 that has ran a household for 10 plus years, and they will get it done in spades.
Yep. I agree with that. They know how to multitask also. They're very good at that because they got 3 kids and supper and everything going on. Absolutely.
So Bob, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but supposedly our producer reached out to you and she said that your retail story literally is going to go down in history as the best retail story.
I got talking to my people yesterday afternoon, and they're like, "Would you forget about this? Did you forget it?" But now I'll tell you the one. A lady comes in the store and she asks the first employee, "Do you sell seafood here?" And we said, "Only frozen seafood." So this lady goes back, shoplifts a bottle of cocktail sauce, takes a bag of fully cooked shrimp in the men's bathroom. She's a woman, locks herself in the men's bathroom, runs hot water on them in the sink, and then she eats them. And when she come out, I stopped her and said, "Hey, where's the shrimp you took in the bathroom?" I didn't take no shrimp in. So I just picked up the garbage can, dumped it out. There was a bag of shrimp. So she lied to me first thing. And I thought, everything she says from me this point on, I'm not going to believe. I mean, it's the cop, the good cop, bad cop. But she goes in our bathroom and eats almost 2 pounds of shrimp. And she was smart enough to get a bottle of cocktail sauce, because you can't eat shrimp without cocktail sauce. So, and the funny part is, she told, when the police come, I had her arrested. She said, I haven't eaten in 4 days. Now, this lady was 5 foot tall by 5 foot round. It'd be like saying it would be like saying I haven't eaten in 4 days. But of course, the newspaper, who I don't advertise with, who doesn't like me, they run it, they put that in like 3 times. She hadn't eaten in 4 days.
Oh, no.
But it's okay to steal my, yeah. So, it just, but could you imagine going into a public bathroom, locking the door, eating shrimp with cocktail sauce?
Not without some, Prosecco.
And,
That's insane.
What's funny is every one of my employees, and myself included, said, listen, if you were hungry and you ask, we'll get you a meal from the deli. But when you steal it from me, I bury you. I'll go to the end of the world to bury you. That's just my personality. So, and to go along with that, I had a guy one day come in the store. This will give you chills. He held out his hand and he had a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and a penny, 41 cents. And he said, can I get 16 cents of bologna? He said, I want to keep this quarter for a cup of coffee. That's when coffee was a quarter. And I thought, so I ran up, got an 8-pack of rolls, made him 8 sandwiches, a bag of apples, some chips, something to drink, and give it to him. And he says, I can't pay for this. I said, listen, buddy, if you're honest enough not to steal it from me, I'll give it to you. And I'm telling you, so I come around, I had to walk him out of the store, and he got about 10 steps ahead of me. He walked out our front door. I'm getting chills right now. He walked out our front door, and he vanished into thin air. There was not a car moving. There was nobody walking. I was 5 seconds behind him, and he disappeared. And it says in the Bible, you'll meet God someday. Be prepared. Well, you know what? I think that was God there. I hope I passed and I told him, I said, listen, my family's been blessed. If you're honest enough to not to steal, I'll give it to you. So that, that's you got the bad, everybody thinks of the bad, evil Bob, but there's also a Bob that has a heart. If you don't steal from me.
Well, that's fair.
Uh,
You guys are probably the same way.
100%.
It's fair. Yep.
Bob, in the meat room at Catania,
So-
there's a little cartoon from like probably the 80s, and it's a picture, and there's this little guy in St. Peter's Gates, and the guy says, St. Peter's like, hey, so how you think you live your life? And he's like, well, I'm a grocer, and then all of a sudden the gates open up and let him in, and they're like, but St. Peter, why'd you let me in? He's like, dude, you've been a grocer for 40 years. You've been living in hell. Welcome to heaven.
Free pass.
He's like, you're in. You made it.
Let's hope that's true.
Oh,
Well, it's like, think about when COVID was going on, when most people were sitting at home doing nothing. We were working our asses off, plain and simple, in front of thousands of people a day. And it wasn't just us; it was the Walmart workers. It was Giant. It was Weiss, Giant Eagle, every one of them. And we've been through hell. We've been there. So.
Oh yeah, no, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember having to drive down to a Restaurant Depot. This is before they figured out that, that's where you get your meat when the shelves were empty, just to get enough meat to fill the shelves up. So I'd drive down to a Restaurant Depot and wipe them out because the restaurants weren't buying back then, and bring it up to the stores, all 3 stores, and I think we had a 1 pound ground meat limit at that time.
Yeah.
And it was wild. That was the last time we had no ad. which would be nice to get back to.
The no ad thing is wild. We might have to think about that. But I will say, like, to your point about the going back to when COVID and all that was going on, the retail workers, I mean, they really were heroes because, you know, whether it be our crews, whether, like you said, Walmart, anybody working in retail, let's face it, there was a lot of ways out. If you did not want to work at the time, there was a lot of ways out. They didn't have to work. So to choose to work and to do their duties, I mean, that was admirable. We definitely have a special place for any of our crew that have gotten through that with us.
Yep. And do you remember when Governor Wolf said he's going to pay all essential workers $3 an hour? And that the minute he said it, it wasn't 5 minutes, and one of my employees was in my office saying, "When are we going to get to? Will that $3 be on our pay this week?" And I said, "You got to apply for it."
Yeah.
We applied for it. We didn't get it. So we took our PPP money. It probably wasn't what it was intended for, but I paid my employees an extra $2 an hour, and I made it last as long as I could till I ran out. And, you know, those people, they worked their butts off, plain and simple.
Yeah,
and,
we did the same thing with we did it in a different way, but same idea. We did free meals while working, and what else did we do? Oh, we added healthcare.
We added healthcare.
You know, we did a lot of things. Same as you, the free meals. We did it as long as we could. I mean, obviously now you can't afford that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, we ran it, but that's what you got to do to stay in business as an independent. That's what you got to do to keep a good, solid crew. You know, yeah, that. You know, going back to what you said about, you know, the origins and where you're at now, you know, if you could like picture, you know, what a perfect day, this will be the last question, because I think this is important. The people that aren't in the industry, or maybe the people that are small businesses, they look at somebody like you that's a veteran of the industry. You know, I consider myself a veteran, but like pales in comparison to your experience. And if somebody that's their own business, like, what is a perfect day as far as like, you know, how do you structure your day? I always find it interesting. Like, you know, everybody that is very successful usually has a, you know, rhythm, a structure. What's your day look like? As your last question, like, what's a perfect like structured day? Get up. When do you get up?
Usually get up. I used to get up early. As I get older, I'm like, used to be, I was in there at 6 in the morning. Then it went to 7. Then it went to 8. Now it's about 8:30, 8:45. And you know, what's funny is you say this will never happen to me. When I was 45, man, I was tearing the world a new butt. And as you get older, you're going, man, I'm slowing down. I just can't do it anymore like I used to. But probably the perfect day or a good day is just any day that nobody complains about something. You want to complain about something legit? You know, a lady told me the other day when it was snowing, she said, "Your parking lot's slippery." And I looked at her. And I said, "No, it's snowing." I mean, she got a little offended, and she looked at me and she goes, that was pretty stupid, wasn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, it was." You know, so like I said, my filter's gone away.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a good answer. No, I agree. A smooth day. Well, you know, Bob, we appreciate very much you being a guest on this. You know, anybody that's out there that watch this as an independent operator or just as a person running a business, they're going to look at that and say, okay, you know, this guy's just like me. You know, I can do this. Like that's what it's about. But, you know, the relationship over the years has been magic, all the conversations, all the great friendship. You know my dad thinks the world of you. I was just talking to Joe Oliver. He thinks the world of you. You know, a lot of respect from this way, going to Central PA to not Saxonburg, Saxton.
Yeah, first timer here.
Grew up 30 minutes from there. You know, maybe I was just nervous. Who knows? You know, but anyways. Thank you very much, Bob, for joining us today and dealing with our technological. We're not the most savvy people in the world at getting people going. You did a great job. Your camera looked better than ours at points, which makes me wonder what Doug did with the camera money I gave him. Just kidding.
Beer budget.
Well, I appreciate you guys' friendship and your families over the years, and Wish you nothing but the best in the future going forward.
Hey, thanks. Same to you,
too,
Bob.
Bob. Thank you
Happy
so much.
selling. We'll see you soon.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
Genuine PA Skill Games, powered by Paysomatic and supported by PA Skill Alliance, are dedicated to fostering growth throughout the Commonwealth. These games have been instrumental in supporting local fraternal orders, fire companies, bars, and retailers by keeping businesses operational, maintaining employment, and funding community projects. With over 5,000 communities across Pennsylvania, it's highly probable that genuine PA Skill Games are working hard behind the scenes in your area. They ensure the vitality of our main streets, restaurants, bars, and stores. By supporting PASkillAlliance.org, you are investing time in your community, employing your neighbors, and contributing to local nonprofits. Together, we can help keep Main Street open for business.
It's everybody's favorite segment. It's Ryan's Retail Stories from Around the World.
Well, again, this week, we don't have to go far around the world. We have to go to Las Vegas, Nevada, and the NGA, National Grocers Association. They're having their annual gathering, their annual show, their annual presentations in Las Vegas. We've went before. I've went a couple times. I think you've went more than me, but it's a great opportunity. We didn't go this year, obviously, a lot on our plate, too much going on, but it's a great chance for any retailer of any form to go and learn and see great speakers and, listen to other retailers' stories and see what's working in the industry, what's not. Like, one thing nice, NGA, they do a great job of sending out daily notices and notes and posting on social so you can kind of follow along and see what trends are going in the retail world that we should be a part of. So, but it's just a great collection of where the independent grocer, actually not only independents, all grocers, National Grocer Associations. It's just an annual gathering, and you can see where the retail industry is and kind of as from our standpoint compare where we're at to where they're at and where we need to be.
It's a big opportunity too. I think that when people go there, there's so many things they do well. They do obviously the sessions where you learn things are well. Obviously back to our original thing we're talking about a couple weeks ago where, it's all about networking with other, and that's when we found out. Fun story about I might have told a story about the blackjack table is when we found out that Encore was no longer, it was going to be the main Scam Master software versus original Scam Master. But, it's wild that in the grocery business, it's also like the Hall of Fame, back to where Bob and I are talking about. There's a lot of people that, if you look at they always have past presidents and things on the big banners of what's going on. And they always have, that information. But it's interesting to see the retailers that were on there, they're no longer in business.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely see a path of who did what to get the retail industry where it is today. You're right. It is kind of a trip. It's like going to the Football Hall of Fame for NFL. It's like the same idea. It's probably the best place. We talk about if there was a Hall of Fame. It's the best place to kind of look at the history of retail, who formed it, who had the ideas that got us to where we are today. And, it's just kind of a good chance to get away and reflect on the year and look at your business from above tree level and compare it to where the businesses are that are being highlighted and see where the gaps are and go from there. So, one thing with technology now, you're kind of able to follow from afar, but there is no substitute for being there and maximizing it. Some people go there, show up at one seminar and then go play blackjack and get polluted. But, if you go there and you maximize the show, you maximize the speakers, you can really gain a lot from it as a retailer. Oh,
yeah. And plus, usually the warehouses give you a free dinner. So last time we went, me and Claxton boys went to play blackjack over at the Excalibur. I don't remember what happened, but I woke up the next day with $500 chips.
Oh, you guys
Not
did
just
well.
one of them, multiple of them.
You guys did well.
Yeah, but I don't play that much. I play $20 a hand.
No, but you know what? It's it's nice to get away. It's nice to engage with other people in the same business and the same struggle we're in. But the NGA show, we're gonna have to. We say it with a lot of things. There's a lot of things we'd like to do, but the grind of it. Like we talked about the time management, managing your time in the stores, your time working on the business versus your time away working on the business versus family time. It's tough. So. But the NGA shows definitely, I'd recommend it to anybody. You can definitely you're going to gain something. You're going to pay for the trip with some idea.
And there's a great publication they associate with, which is Progressive Grocer.
Yeah.
That really just kind of the cutting edge of what's going on in the business. And, we actually got our first remodel idea from their one of their publications of a store in Florida. I loved how they had the big, this is what the department is, and made that as a showpiece. And it was very clean line. So from an artistic and inspirational level, if you're looking at your store or retail business, it's a great opportunity just to kind of see what people are doing and what's kind of cutting edge, and then incorporate it where it makes sense.
And welcome NGA, one of our newest followers have checked out podcast. We noticed that, so thank you for the follow. Thank all the followers for the follow. So, yeah.
Check it out.
Go check it out.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Plus, it's in Vegas.
Yeah,
which is
in Las Vegas.
nice.
How can you go wrong in Las Vegas? Something for everybody. Boom! That gives us perfect leeway into this week in retail history with Doug.
This week in retail history, guys, is the chocolate giant merger of February 2nd, 2010. I was in Virginia. So exactly 16 years ago, Kraft Foods, which if you guys aren't familiar with Kraft Foods, they own some companies called Philip Morris and some other big operators. It's the largest CPG there is. They're massive. And think about this. They started out with a block of cheese.
That is amazing. When you think about it that way, it's amazing.
Like we're gonna start with a block of cheese and move into everything.
Everything.
So at the time, the massive shock in the food industry, Cadbury eggs, guys, getting ready for Easter. You guys ever had them? They're kind of. Are you Cadbury egg?
I'm not either. I don't like that interior. I know everybody loves Cadbury bunnies and eggs and all that kind of stuff, but I just it's not my thing. But it is huge. It's popular. Very popular.
I feel like it's a real egg.
Yeah.
But they've been around for 186 years. It's a British icon. The takeover was quite hostile. The event fundamentally changed the global snack landscape, eventually leading to Kraft to split into two companies, one focused on North American groceries, and the other being a global snack powerhouse, which you may know as Mondelez.
Mondelez.
Yes.
I know Mondelez very well.
And actually, they also own Oreo and Ritz.
And?
Cliff Bar.
Cliff Bar. Shout out to my wife, Brandy. Sells Cliff Bar. Mondelez International. No, they're monsters, man. They're monsters. I mean, they're good. I mean, they're very good. They're just very, I can say from brand and from listening to conversations, they're very, very efficient in their operations. Just very efficient in their operations on every level. So, I mean, that's what it takes. You got to be efficient.
Got to be efficient.
Got to be crushing those cans.
And guys, so here's some fun facts about Cadbury eggs. The goo is just fancy sugar. Despite the lifelike appearance, the yolk isn't just differently from the white. The filling is actually just fondant, a mixture of sugar, glucose syrup, and water. To get the look of the yolk, it's simply dry with a touch of food coloring, paprika extract usually to give it its global golden hue. So it's not two different things. It's just one. It's one.
That's interesting.
And they just dye it. And there always weren't cream eggs. When Cadbury Brothers first made chocolate in the early 1875, the version known today didn't arrive until 1971, before they were sold as Fry cream eggs, named after J.S. Fry and Sons, who merged with Cadbury. And this was rebranded in 71 and became the global phenomenon almost instantly. And then finally, the shrinkflation controversy. I always love controversy in these stories because how can you be mad at like UPCs? The mark of the beast. Now we're talking about Cadbury eggs, and it's the shrinkflation. If you feel that they're smaller than they used to be, you are imagining things, at least according to the public. In 2015, the company faced a massive backlash when they reduced the pack size from 6 to 5. When Cadbury insists the individual eggs haven't shrunk significantly, the giant cream egg debate remains a hot topic in grocery aisles every spring. I feel like they're the same size.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of them, but I have had enough of them consistently that I feel like I've never eaten one and been like, that's a little thin to me,
I feel like you're more of a peep guy.
No, I'm not a peep guy. I don't like that texture. I'm not a big marshmallow guy. It has that it's like a bad marshmallow in my opinion. I'm not a peep guy at all. I don't like it. And I don't like anything that is sticky on the outside. I feel like it sucks in a bunch of crap and then you're eating all that crap. I just feel like it tracks things. I don't know. It's maybe a personal thing, but I just don't like anything with a sticky texture on it. I like something that's clean. And Peeps,
You're smooth. You're a smooth guy.
I mean, if anything, I'm gonna house a bag of like Reese's trees, at Christmas time or something like that. Something's gonna hold together a little longer. Something's gonna kind of like push dog hair and everything away.
And here's the crazy thing. Think about this. So they make do the spring festivities. They make 1.5 million eggs every single day in the factory. And if you stack those on top of each other, it would be taller than Mount Everest. Think about that. So like 500 million eggs, Cadbury eggs, are made out of that factory every year.
It's just okay. I mean, that's
think about how many eggs that is.
Oh no, I mean it's
a lot of eggs.
I mean I'm just gonna stop. It's like one of those issues that if you think about it too long, it just drives you crazy. So I'm just gonna say, okay, they're smart, they're doing that. I'm just gonna keep knocking the gong over and
one more gong, baby. Well, that's okay, Ryan, because it's your chance to shine today. We have the retail story of the week. I'm looking at the notes, and it's some kind of brusher of Katanning. Is it a toothbrusher? Is it a...
No, I wish it would have been. It would have been a lot easier to manage. Although I didn't have to manage this one. This was when Dad was operating the stores. This is when he was under the gun. He had to handle it. I was just a messenger. But we had a guy working in Katanning store. Circa, we're gonna say like 2002, and he was a do-it-all kind of guy. Like he did some maintenance for us. He handled all the receiving of trucks. He did orders. He stocked shelves. He handled any kind of like situations that came up. I mean, he was a manager, like what they call the grocery manager at the time, which they roped grocery manager into basically it was another store manager. It was a back of the store manager basically. And a very important part of operations, and did a good job. He'd been there for a long time. But, one thing I always noticed that was interesting was whenever you'd bring him up to certain people in the store, some people would kind of just be like, give you that, oh, yeah, he's great. But there was you could tell there was an unspoken but to it. And so, one day I believe I was the one that fielded the call. Got a call, it's before cell phones were used a lot. So, I was in Leechburg store, got a call from Katanning. We got an issue. I'm like, oh, okay, what's the issue? You're never going to believe this, right? We talk about never going to believe this, and sometimes it's true. I'm like, well, what's the issue? And they said, well, so-and-so, this guy that we're talking about, it was the person that this happened. He's like, he brushed me. And, me being kind of, my humor and stuff, well, it's probably not appropriate for him to be brushing your hair, I said, I draw a lot from Michael Scott.
Obviously, you missed sensitivity training.
I draw a lot from Michael Scott in the office, use humor, try to lighten the mood. But I realized very quickly this wasn't like a lightening of the mood, time for humor. And so I said, well, no. I said, seriously though, what's happening? I apologize for, Oh no problem. I was standing and, I was working on something at our table, prep table in the deli, and he came by and brushed me with his butt. I'm like, you mean like brushed you, like, hit you? Like, no, he like brushed my butt with his butt. I said, like, hit? I was trying to understand, this is a serious thing. That's serious. I like to get every detail. And she's like, no, like there was a stop, there was a pause, there was a slowness.
PA Skill players seek genuine PA Skill games. How can you tell the real from the imitation? The PA Skill Alliance offers a 4-step identification process to help you find genuine PA Skill games. 1. Check for logos. Does the machine display official Pennsylvania Skill Game logos? 2. Look for Powered by Pace-O-Matic. Is it Powered by Pace-O-Matic visible on the game's casing? 3. Assess business reputation. Is the game a reputable business? Genuine PA Skill games were not intended to be standalone businesses. 4. Examine game style. Is it a tic-tac-toe style game that offers the option to win every time? Help combat fraudulent skill games by exclusively playing genuine PA Skill Alliance supported games. Discover more at paskillalliance.org.
She went into description of this. It was a slow rubbing butt to butt. And I said, do you think it was intentional? I said, were you in a close area? She's like, no, it was definitely intentional.
Do you feel like from her standpoint, though, it sounds like you're almost like playing, you're like, oh, can you please explain it to me in more detail? And she's like, dude, butt to butt. And you're like, no. Can you go deeper?
I just wanted to understand because I'm thinking, okay, was he just, sometimes people, both ways, it's definitely a serious thing whenever somebody's talking about something that could be like sexual misconduct.
It's very serious.
I was joking at first, but once I realized that's where it's at, then we get serious. But I like to get all the facts right away. And exactly because if it was some kind of misunderstanding or an accident or something, maybe she was just, you never know. So I like to get all the facts. But once she explained it, I'm like, okay, this is a problem. She said, well, she said, this isn't the first time, and I'm just the first person that's had, the guts to come to you and say something. So, and this was somebody that was very credible. Somebody that I knew this was somebody that wasn't going to mess around, wasn't going to risk somebody losing their job. And in this case, it was a career. This guy was a manager making good money at the time. I knew that she wasn't going to play around like that. And so I said, I'm going to address this, first thing tomorrow. He'd go on for the day. She said, okay, but I'm just telling you, I'm out of here. So I knew it wasn't good. So, with all due respect to everybody, I like to get everybody's side. So the next day I talked to a couple of the girls and I said, hey, so-and-so, ever said anything weird happen? They're like, oh, the one person, I'll never forget, only every time I'm around him. I'm like, you've been around him for 20 years. I know. I just didn't want him to lose his job. Like, okay. Then on to the next one. I said, has something like this ever happened? Well, most of the time it's more like butt to front, if you know what I mean. Whoa, 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 instantly. Again, didn't want him to lose his job. Like, and it was so on and so forth, different variations. So then I go to him and I said, giving him the benefit, I wanted to give him a chance to speak for himself. These are the accusations, what do you have to say for them? He's like, wow. He's like, maybe I just get a little friendly with the girls. I might just get a little friendly with the girls. I'm like a little friendly is saying hello 3 times. Like, this is like, possible court time.
Oh no, this is like, I said, call the police.
This is a serious situation. Very serious situation. He's like, oh, well, I'm just a friendly guy. I'm just trying to be friendly. And I'll never forget, I said, well, I'm going to tell all this because at the time I was just there work. I didn't have the authority to hire, so I said, I'm going to tell Dad about all this. I said, I don't know what he's going to say. He's like, oh, I can't lose my job. I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. This is wild stuff, and so I told Dad and he went in and, right away, he's just like, you're fired.
Yeah.
You're fired. This is, he said, you're lucky that these people weren't asking us to press charges.
Right.
And he's like, well, you can't fire me. Just have me do something else. Have to do something else. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
You're a serial butt brusher.
You're a serial butt brusher. And at the time, it was like 9 to 1 women working there. And at that point, it goes, at that point, if we let him back, we are the ones basically doing it because we're enabling it. We're accepting it.
Well, beyond that, we have zero.
Yeah.
And zero tolerance for that kind of behavior.
None.
Zero.
Geez, job's hard enough, let alone weird stuff like that happening. Nobody should have to deal with that. So anyways, he was released, but, the joke, anytime, even today, this is like 20 some years later, even today, the story has been passed on. So even today, like when that happens, oh, butt brusher too. Like, you accidentally run it,
the sequel.
Bump into somebody, it's a little store, so it's tight quarters. Sometimes you learn from, this is like 20 some years later. But yeah, the legend of the butt brusher of Katanning. So he's no longer with us. I don't know if he's dead. I don't know. He might be dead. He was.
Oh, no, he's around.
Oh, you know?
I do.
Oh.
I can't.
You've seen him?
Daily.
What the?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
I can't say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah. Daily.
He's alive.
Right. Because Uncle Jack, who was around at the time, said, hey, there's the butt brusher. And the guy was right there. And I'm like, Uncle Jack, you can't say that. And he was like, That's who he is. That's what he did.
But one thing I saw from that experience, for those of you out there, if there's something crazy going on, get somebody on the horn right away. You're not going to get in trouble for being the messenger, and nobody should have to put up with that kind of crap at work. But yeah, the blood pressure container. That's the story of the week.
You know what? I think for the PSA, I'm going to go to the store tomorrow and be like, all right, ladies, here's a picture of the quote unquote gentleman in question. Has he approached you in a very close manner?
Well, if you've seen him on a regular basis, I'm assuming he's one of the stores.
He comes in super early.
So, it could be a situation where he's, maybe you might want to ask around. Maybe he's taking his tendencies to the public spectrum.
Is it?
Or maybe he learned from his mistake.
Do you know how, like, on the audio in the store, it's always the same song at the exact same time?
Yeah.
And the crews say, like, hey, it's crazy because it must be 3 o'clock. The song's playing.
Yeah.
Is it weird that when he comes in, it's Sweet Caroline playing?
Well,
reaching out, touching me.
If he brings his own.
You. Sweet Caroline,
If he comes in with holding his own disco ball above him and some kind of a leader shoot, chest hair flowing, we're going to be nervous at that point. But on that note, not that it has anything to do with it, but retail trends. Doug, what's happening in the auto industry?
Well, it's kind of exciting. So when you go to a dealership, do you haggle?
No, I go in with, I pretty much know. I mean, now with online, you have an opportunity to do a lot of fact finding ahead of time. So, I look up, I know what I should be getting it for going in. And as long as it's reasonable and they give me a decent trade in, I'm all right.
Do you notice it takes some people a lot of times to buy a car?
No.
It takes them multiple trips and test drives. And
I mean, it's a good way to drive a bunch of cars.
agreed. But
I should probably take advantage of that.
do you know how I buy a car?
Huh.
Oh, great. You have it in stock. Okay, great. I'll be in. I don't even test drive it.
What, you at least check the price?
No.
Whoa.
I don't know. I know what
I
it
think you're
is.
going to get hosed. You might be paying a year of extra payments.
No. First off, I know what the car is. I looked up the car online.
Oh, okay. You do the research.
Right, but my point is, though, I'm not there haggling over, like, floor mats. Like, there's some people I've seen at the dealership while I was trying to complete my transaction. It takes them all day. But the newest trend in the auto industry is unified online in-store deal making. So you start the deal online through chat, you go to the store, and when you go in the store, you basically have the same screen up, and then you just continue the basic negotiation. And it shows you all the breakdown, the trade-in value, the taxes, everything else is on a screen while you're talking to the sales rep right then and there.
You sure you weren't like looking at online dating mechanics? I mean, it seems very similar,
No, this is real. So one of the companies is Cox Automotive's Deal Central, as they call it, allows customers to start the deal online and walk in the store and complete it.
I mean, that's smart. I mean, totally transparent, instant trust. I mean, that's a great way of doing it. It's probably refreshing. Actually, if I was a car dealer, I'd look at that and say, "Hey, I'm going to do that," because it takes all the games out of the way.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about this too with AI developments, how like pricing comparison and everything else now AI driven is almost instantaneous.
That's cool. I actually like that because for my approach, it make things a lot easier, even more easy.
True.
It's good. It's good. We're making progress in this world.
We are.
Making progress. And you know what? People don't have time anymore. That's the thing. You don't have time to go to 10 dealerships and, talk to 15 salesmen and, watch the parts of their donut fall down on the table and wonder how long it's going to be before they clear it. And, are they going to check their mustache? Are they going to get that out of their mustache? You don't have time for that. So it's nice that you can cut all that out and just get to as Dad would say, get to the rat killing.
And part of our show, I think I like too, is that we are basically sharing retail insider information with the public so they understand why deals are made and what things are happening and what's the trend. And so they can take advantage of that and save some money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ryan, with all good retailer stories, there comes that situation where you have the stereotypical retail customer. So this week, Ryan's retail stereotype.
Well, this week it's the customer that takes the cart home with them. Now, somebody might say that's listening or watching, why would you take the cart home with you? Like who takes the cart home? When have you ever seen somebody take the cart home? Well, in some of the areas where like we have stores in neighborhoods, really Katanning is the one where it's not in a complex. It's in a neighborhood. So for a lot of people that maybe they're sharing a vehicle for the family, or they don't have a vehicle at the time, or maybe they just don't want a vehicle. They just there's public transportation up there. So they'll literally shop the store, take the cart home with them. And people have always asked me, like, why don't you arrest these people? And my outlook on it is it's a competitive advantage because some of these stores don't let you take carts home. So maybe a customer that would get on the bus or get a whatever and get a ride and go somewhere else and get their groceries and take them home from there, they know they can use the cart, so they come to the store and use the cart. But like when I tell people that part of my weekly schedule, we're making sure that somebody's on schedule to go around and collect carts in Katanning. They're like, wait, what? You collect carts? Yeah, and people know. If you're done with the cart, you leave it in the alley or you leave it outside, and we go around, we collect the carts, we bring it in. It's a constant situation. I always think it's like I always try to make a fun thing out of everything. It's like you're an old West wrangler. Your cows get dispersed and you got to do roundup. So first of the month is always very busy for us. So before the first of the month, we do roundup, get all the carts back in. But the part of the stereotype that I think is wild, and I've seen this a lot lately in downtown Katanning, and if you're in downtown Katanning at our store, if everything's clean, lights clean, no construction vehicles, you just have a clean, smooth track, it is about 10 minutes to get from our store to the competitors up on the hill outside of town, in the complexes, in the plazas. And I'm seeing more and more in town carts from like Walmart in town. Not a ton, but enough. Like I'm talking 5 or 6 to where it created a dynamic where I actually went into Walmart, talked to the one manager, and I said, hey, I own the store in Katanning. I collect carts for the store. Your carts, I'm seeing them here and there. Versus you having to collect them. If I gather them, put them into my cart corral, which is outside the store, let my customers use them or whatever, not use them. You just come and get them whenever you want. And they said, yeah, that's great. So it's funny because for those people or somebody, like, not only am I collecting my carts now, I'm collecting every cart. And it reminds me of an old John Wayne movie for the John Wayne fans out there. If you're too young to know John Wayne, look up John Wayne movies. He was the OG of Westerns, but John Wayne movie, I'll never forget it. He was there branding his cattle. There was other people's cattle. And he was just like, I don't have time to separate these cows. I'm just going to round them all up, take them to Kansas, and if somebody calls me out, I'll give them money for it. So he would say, there's another person's brand them. So he'd brand his brand over top. I think of that when I bring in 3 Walmart carts and I put them in my cart corral, like, hey, you got a cart in my area? It's going in the ground, baby.
I'm branding it.
That's a stereotype. People that take the cart home with them.
Well, it's funny. I like when people, like when I tell people that story, people are like, well, I'm from wherever, and you can get wheel locks. And what they don't realize is a wheel lock's like $100. You get a wheel lock put on it. The people that put wheel locks on it, the customer will push that cart until the wheel goes flat.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, the wheel locks won't help you. Yeah, it doesn't help you. I mean, they'll struggle pushing that car with a locked wheel until the wheel falls off instead of carrying the groceries.
And the other thing, let's face it, too. Do I see people every week pushing their laundry home in one of my carts? Yeah. Do I stop and tell them, hey, where are you going with this? Please don't do this in the future, but where are you going with this? They tell me, and then I come and I pick up the cart. Sometimes I even help with their laundry upstairs.
That's nice, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. But the main thing is, it's not all about like dollars and cents when you're a small business. It's about, interacting with the customer in a way that the big boys won't.
Right.
So, the thing I always think about when you talk about wheel locks, when you talk about banning, arresting, there are times where you got like a single mother of 4, and she's working full time, and she's shopping, and she's got 3 kids with her. She doesn't have a vehicle, and she needs that cart to get her groceries home. So, like, yeah, there's some abuse. Yeah, it's annoying, but like for those 30 people every week that rely on it, just let them take the carts home. That's what we've decided on that for the last 20 years, 25 years, 26, 27. Jeez, we're getting old. 27 years.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep doing it because, hey, for that one person that needs it, hey, it's a goodwill thing. But anyways, there are people that take carts home. It's a wild phenomenon to some people. They can't imagine it, but it happens, and it is a lot of stories we'll get to off of that. But I wanted to introduce that to people that have never heard that before.
Oh, the car story's wild.
And now we're gonna end today's episode with one of my just personal favorite stories. I mean, this is a dime story. It's a dime. Doug's retail story.
I'm glad you preference that. For most people, it'd actually be 5 years in therapy. So I take you back. When I was managing, my best stories came out of Apollo.
A-Town was you had a small town. I don't know how it is today, but you had a small town with it was like somebody just rounded up all the characters of Western PA. And I'm not talking about all bad. I mean, just characters, personalities, people that stood out, and they just put them all 1,700 in a town and just let them go to work, let them cook, so to speak.
Oh, no, it's crazy.
Yeah. A-Town.
Reminds me of another story about Apollo, but we'll let that one for now. No, so at the time, I was living in your duplex, and imagine the Western Pennsylvania duplex. You have the big old Victorian house, and there's the stairwell in the middle got split by a wall that goes all the way up through it. And if you remember correctly, like the living rooms were right across from, basically there's a stairwell, but then the living room was right below that. And it wasn't huge.
There were mirror. There's mirror.
There's mirror.
Like you say, they cut the house in half.
Right. So I bought a couch. I had a couch there. I was playing Xbox. I think it was Halo 2 at the time. Super excited. So at the time, I was the manager of the store. And my neighbor on the duplex was one of my managers of produce, I believe.
Yeah,
and
department manager.
Department manager.
Yeah.
And he had a wife who was, at the time, and I didn't think, I thought it was a joke when they told me about what she did professionally. But I guess in the hospitals in Pittsburgh and the cancer treatment ones, they test on monkeys.
Right. At least they did at the time.
At the time. So I'm not sure what happens now.
Yeah.
But at the time, there was people that were in charge of feeding the monkeys, medically treating the monkeys, basically the monkey wranglers. And so
some of the monkeys had some situations going on from the medications.
Right.
So, part of it was just making sure the monkeys didn't go wild.
Right.
Or do anything wild or bite anybody.
Can you imagine working that job and then going to watch Planet of the Apes? You'd be like, nope.
I'm a very paranoid person. I wouldn't trust one of those monkeys. One of those, my eyes would be on those little monkeys at all times.
So now that you know the characters, you have the produce manager, you have myself as the manager of the store, and you have the wife. So, I was there one night and I fell asleep on the couch playing Xbox, and I think it was it was like midnight. I remember it was close to midnight, and all of a sudden I heard, and I was like, that's weird, because it wasn't like the door, but it was pounding noises. So then I'm like,
unsettling at that time.
It was, but at the time I really think a big deal of it. So then I went back to sleep, and all of a sudden I woke up and I hear again, and I'm like, what the heck? And so then at this point I stepped for a little bit, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's their anniversary. Like, I'm not going to
ask from the other side of the duplex.
I'm not going to ask questions.
No. I mean what a man and a woman do in the privacy of their home is between them and God or
and the duplex
whatever
steps,
you believe in.
Whatever it is, yeah. So then I hear it again, and I also hear, and I'm like, what?
A scream.
A blood curdling.
I was going to say, what kind of scream are we talking here?
Like, it was like the movie Scream.
Okay.
Like full blown
Like
murder
I just
scream.
saw 5 ghosts.
Murder scream.
Right.
So then all of a sudden I hear, because again, the steps are right behind me. I hear spring down the steps, and I hear screaming and yelling and screaming and yelling. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So then I'm like, well, I don't want this to spill over on my side.
Right.
So I get my gun, load it, put it right by the door.
You got the gun.
Got the gun. The gun's ready.
Okay.
I'm ready to mow down whatever comes through that.
All right.
Because I'm thinking.
Most people call the police.
Well, no, I don't call the police at this point. So then, so I remember.
But I guess you don't want to call the police on your buddy or whatever was happening over there.
I don't want to unload the truck tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't want to do his job.
It was a high stakes game.
Yeah.
At the time, if you lost somebody, you had to do the job.
You just feel it out.
So I turn around, and I remember I turn around to turn off the Xbox and TV so I can hear better and make sure that there's nobody getting murdered. And then as soon as I turn around to do that, all of a sudden I hear knock at the door. I hear, let me in, he's trying to kill me.
I mean, wow.
And I'm like,
Wow.
So then, like, you know,
Wow.
like, I mean, you're at this
I
point,
mean, it just went. It just became your situation.
I became the main character in this story.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
he's trying to kill me.
yeah.
Wow. That's not what you want to hear at 1 p.m. with a half a buzz.
Hell no.
Or 1 a.m. with a half a buzz.
No.
Yeah, playing Xbox.
No, I was trying to be me.
Wow.
So then I go over to the door.
Let me in.
And I'm like, who is this? She's like, it's me. Let me in. So I pull open the door. I have my gun. I pull open the door. And mind you, at the time, there was like this, it was a big Victorian porch. And there was a central, like little half wall that you had to climb over to get into the room. So she climbs over the wall. She gets, and all of a sudden I look down, and on her, I think her right leg, there was this blood, like staining her entire jeans, like the whole way down. Like, no, she had khakis on the whole way down to the floor.
Jeez.
Like red. And it wasn't like it wasn't like a movie, it was real. So like it was just dark red, and she's screaming, yelling. And so I pull her into the door, I close the door, I put the deadbolt up, lock it. And I put her on my couch. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, at this point, you don't know how this happened to her, who did it.
Right.
You know, was there an invader?
Right.
You know, what's happening?
No. So like, and then being a little bit selfish, I'm like, if he goes to jail,
Oh, you were thinking right away.
I have to unload my truck
You were
tomorrow
thinking it's him right
in the
away.
produce truck.
Okay.
And I felt bad, but I'm saying like I'm going through like the personal. Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Oh no, I mean, from a retailer standpoint, you're always thinking logistically. Unfortunately, it's built in. I mean, you know, you're sympathetic to whatever situation's happening, but you're also thinking logistically, like, oh, your mom died. Oh man, I'm so sorry. And you are sorry.
Right.
But at the same time, your freaking brain is going to that point. Okay, mom died of player X. How do we get player X? Yeah, it's unfortunate we can't fully mourn something.
Right. And you're like the guy at the beach who's there with his family, and he's worrying about Morse code. And
Right.
And the scan codes.
Right. Oh, your leg's bleeding. Oh, yeah. Somebody's
Right.
chasing you. Great, but who's gonna? Do you have a plan for the truck tomorrow?
Not selfish. So she's in there. She's on my couch, and then I'm like, my couch is I just bought this damn couch. It's my first ever leather couch,
Jeez.
and it's turning into a crime scene. So
Listen, can you just give me a second? Do me a favor. Can you just go like curl up on the floor? See that spot between the rug and the trim? Don't get on the trim. That'll create. Just kind of weave yourself right in between those two, please.
right, and we're talking about this like
Let's talk about this, though. I don't really care.
this is
Here's a
like-
pillow. Just make sure you don't keep your hands off it.
It happened in 30 seconds. Like this wasn't a delayed reaction. It was like 30 seconds. It's all happening so fast. It's like escalation. And I was like, what's going on? She's like, he's trying to kill me. He has a knife.
Oh, geez.
He's upstairs
There's a
somewhere.
knife?
I don't know what's going on. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, we need to call the cops. And she's like, well, I don't want him to get in trouble. And I'm like, he just did something to your leg. We need to call the cops.
And what am I supposed to do? Just go to sleep? I just harbored a person that this man is attacking with a knife.
Right.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let's just take a nap and see what happens.
No.
The dude could be lurking. I mean,
Well, and did you
it's an
know-
active crime scene.
And did you know in the attic there was a way you can go through one part or the other?
right.
And it wasn't lockable?
Oh my God.
I know. So that's in the back of my mind. So I have my gun, and I'm there.
Domestics are so dangerous.
They are dangerous. I feel bad for people. Anyway.
Yeah.
So then I call the cops. And so she's there, and obviously I get her a towel, I get her water, whatever. The cops show up. So,
So you did call the cops.
I call the cops.
Okay.
And this,
Appropriate.
yeah. So the cop comes to the door.
Knife wielding guy running around the duplex.
Right.
Bit somebody to the point of blood drawing.
There's like 4 of them. There's like
Probably
two
time to
teams.
call the cops.
Right. So I'm there, and the cop opens the door, and he's like to me, and he's like, is this the scene of the, I'm like, yeah. And he's like, is there a problem here? And he gets right in my face, thinking I'm the guy that's doing it.
Oh, he got called for a domestic. He thinks you're
The domestic
the
guy.
enforcer.
The domestic guy.
Oh, geez, I didn't even think about
No.
that potential.
So he's like, is there any guns in the house? I'm like, damn right there is.
Oh, my
There's a
God.
loaded Beretta right behind the door, bro. And
I'd
he's
be
like,
hey, hey, Cynthia, maybe say something here.
right. There's a load of bread behind the door. So he's like this. He's like, do you mind if I take your gun? I said, yeah, go ahead. So he takes the gun, unloads it, and puts it back. And so then he looks in the living room and obviously sees the situation. So then all of a sudden, meanwhile, I hear the scurrying upstairs because he can hear it's thin walls. You hear the scurrying going on upstairs, and the cops find him and bring him out. And so then I'm still there, and they call an ambulance for her.
Are you still in your skivvies at this point?
No, I had jeans on. I was ready to go to work.
Oh, okay.
I was ready.
Okay, that would have been better if you were.
So they're there, and then so she goes out, she gets medical treatment, and she's talking to the cops and talking to him. And so she comes back in and then puts more pressure on me and says, so you think I should like press charges, or you think I should like 1099, or not 1099, but like take him to the hospital for evaluation? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
No D whatever. There's no.
I'm not a doctor.
Way above my pay grade.
Right. So she's
What's
like,
happening right now?
So I was like, I can't make a decision for you. I'm like, I'll support whatever you want to do. I can't make the decision for you. So she's like, well, I think I'm just going to have him get evaluated at the hospital for mental illness. And I said, okay. And she's like, but I can't ride with him in the ambulance because it's domestic. I need you to give me a ride. So now we flash forward. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. The truck gets there at 5:30, right? 3 o'clock in the morning. So I take her to the hospital. Meanwhile, that's the longest 30-minute ride of my life, following an ambulance that the guy just, I haven't seen him yet. Now, mind you, I have not seen him yet. Haven't said one word to him. I haven't seen him yet. So we get to the hospital. I remember watching the TV and just kind of like waiting in the waiting room. And a couple hours go by and she comes out and she says, hey, we're going to stay overnight. I'll follow up with you tomorrow morning. I appreciate all you've done. And so I'm like, okay. So I literally go home. I only have time to shower because I have to be ready for the truck. So I go to Apollo ready for the truck. And so I'm in my office. I just got done with the truck. It was like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden, on my door, the employee that just went through all this, not the wife, the employee that caused all this mayhem, knocks on my door. And I'm thinking to myself, is this guy coming to kill me? Like, obviously he's not afraid to bite or whatever he does to somebody. So he's like, hey, I want to talk to you. Do you mind if we go outside? So nobody hears me.
A knife-wielding biter, husband of a monkey tamer, is not somebody you want to be loose in your house.
Hey, you just sold the monkey thing. Oh, I did sell the monkey thing. I thought you sold me out on the monkey. I'm going to tell the monkey part.
I didn't sell it. I didn't sell it on the monkey part.
You did allude to the monkey part.
We already talked about monkeys.
Good point. So I'm there and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go outside with you. I don't feel comfortable doing that at this time. We're going to sit right here with witnesses, God and country, including the camera behind me in my office, so that if you do murder me, I have witnesses.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. So he sat down and he goes through the whole story. So, and I'm trying to be sympathetic, but meanwhile, I'm pissed off because this craziness happened. He was obviously being crazy, hurt somebody, and I unload the damn truck.
Yeah. I mean,
all bad.
Really, the loser in that situation was you.
Yeah, more of the wife.
And for anybody that's going to be looking to list a duplex in the near future, we apologize. We apologize for lowering the price.
It wasn't on Floral Avenue.
Yeah. Oh,
so anyway, so I'm there and he goes to the story. He said, listen, he's like, we've been having problems for months. She has had a friend at the hospital that she's been seeing that's a monkey wrangler handler that she's been hanging out with. And me being 5 years old and just trying to make humor of everything, I'm like, and she's monkeying around at work. He's like, so we're at dinner and I see the text, and it was back on the old flip phones. Once you get like, it was shaped like a little square you put in your pocket. And he's like, I saw the text go off. We're at dinner and I asked her to show me the phone. She wouldn't show me the phone. And so then, I let it go. And later on in the evening, I asked her to show me the phone again because it kept on like buzzing. And I know it wasn't family, it wasn't the kids or anything else. And these people are a little older. And he said, so, I asked her for the phone and she put it in her pocket.
Yeah.
And she went upstairs and locked the bathroom door.
Bad sign.
And he's like,
bad sign.
I just lost my cool.
Yeah.
I lost my cool. He's like, I went in there and she wanted to give me the phone. And so then I'm like, you know what? So I got down. I tried to pull the phone out of her pocket. She wouldn't give it to me. I'm like, I was bite her, like a friendly bite to like freak her out. Then I'll pull the phone out.
Yeah.
The problem is she like turned, and when she turned, it was a full bite. And so the wound was caused by the bite. Wow. And so then he's like, so then what happened was she screamed. I was scared. She ran outside to you. And then I'm sitting here like freaked out and I don't know what to do. And then the cops show up and I'm like, wow.
That's a lot to absorb.
I was like,
That's a lot to absorb. I mean, from an outsider perspective, two things. First thing, I think, it's never good as monkey tamers to be doing anything not involved with watching the monkeys. I mean, monkeys are very smart.
monkey business is never good.
No. I mean, so you should have eyes on the monkeys at all times. Secondly, I admire them being able to orchestrate whatever it is they were orchestrating in front of the audience of the monkeys. It reminds me of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, I'm imagining the monkeys singing, So, I don't know if that was happening. Maybe it added to the experience for the people, the participants, and then, the third thing is, the soft bite sell at that point that he's trying to give you is, I mean, come on. I mean, if somebody if I went to bite somebody, it's not somebody brushing their leg past you. A lot of brushing going on in this episode. Brushing their leg past you, okay, you catch a tooth, all right. But a full-on bite to the point you can literally trace it to who bit them, and there's blood drawn, and then you're also wielding a knife. I mean, the soft bite sell at that point was, let's come on.
Well, no, the whole
He
thing.
was trying to make it seem like it wasn't a big deal, so he could keep his job.
Well, no, agreed.
And
So-
what are you gonna do? So you go to him, hey, X, your gross profit margin is a little low. I mean, when you turn around, he's gonna bite you. I mean, I think you're better off watching the monkeys.
I'm glad you talk about it that way. You know what I was thinking the whole time? I was thinking he's Charlton Heston. And he's like this, damn apes. So to your point, he's there, and I'm thinking to myself, I just witnessed a full blown domestic. I went to a hospital. I unloaded a truck.
Oh yeah,
And
it's a long night.
He's like, so what do you think? And I'm like, what do you mean? What I think? I'm like, bro, you need to work on yourself.
Yeah.
You need to go into some counseling, beg for forgiveness, and figure out what deeper rooted issue is happening here.
What's causing the monkeying around?
Right, exactly. Well, beyond that, I said, but all those processes I'm not going to be involved in.
Right.
I need to let you go. Because,
you gotta let him go.
even though it didn't happen at work, to your point, if he was 1 point off on the gross, who's to say that I'm not the next victim?
A lot of knives around.
Yeah.
And he's got his teeth at all times. And now it's like anything. Dogs. Once they bite, they're biters.
I don't think he had rabies.
No, but I'm saying, now that he has the taste of blood and he's bitten, I think it's always going to be the go-to at that point. Like somebody pisses you off, you're gonna, hey, I'll show you, I'll bite you. I mean,
that's not real, right? That's not science.
Well,
animals do that, but people.
It's Central PA science.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I don't trust a dog after they bite somebody. I don't trust a human after they bite somebody. But the good thing is, it all worked out for all involved.
And everybody now is okay.
Happily ever after.
Yes, everybody found new partners and everybody's happy.
And I've seen one of the characters semi-recently and doing absolutely fine. So happy ending to the monkey biting story. Doug, that is a great story, buddy. You did a great job.
You know what my notes were for this story?
Huh.
Neighbor, crew member, bites a monkey wrangler.
Yeah.
Okay. But guys, thanks so much for supporting. Ryan dodged a bullet today. We're not doing the Ryan's bites.
Yeah, we'll skip it this week, but we'll get back to it
Next week, guys, something real dastardly for you.
Next week, for sure, we'll get back to it. We just had a lot of good segments. There's a lot of good segments. We had a lot of great guests. And thanks everybody watching. Keep watching on all the platforms. It helps us get the views, get the support, and be able to keep on telling our stories. So thanks for all the support out there. Have a great week. We can't do what we do without you.
And a big shout out to our friends at PA Skill Alliance. Because without them, you won't be playing genuine PA skill games across the state, across Commonwealth, Pennsylvania. Big shout out to them for all the support for us and for all the nonprofits, fraternal orders, and the great organizations across the Commonwealth. PASkillLines.org.
Check out the website for all the information.
Come and see us.
I thought it was like a stand in the bathroom for a while, but here it was a stack of Playboys that this guy had accrued over the years. And it literally, it was like a thing. He started stacking issues, and he just kept stacking. I mean, it was like this high. It was like you wanted an extra roll of toilet paper, you could get that, or
Was he married?
yeah.
So
Yeah,
she-
he's a great guy, legendary guy.
so
Great marriage.
So the wife didn't care that he had a stack of Playboys